The Gilded Isolation. Obinna and his 5 siblings, Esther, Chika, Rita, Francis, and Emeka, are born into a poor family in Nsukka. Their parents work tirelessly to provide food and shelter, teaching their children the value of unity and perseverance. Despite their hardships, the siblings share a strong bond, often finding joy in the simplest moments, like playing in the fields or sharing a meal. Obinna, the eldest, stands out for his ambition and dreams of escaping their poverty. He believes education is the key to a better life and vows to carve a different path for himself, promising to return one day and lift his family out of hardship. Obinna leaves Nsukka for the bustling city, determined to build a better future. Through sheer determination and hard work, he excels in his studies and eventually lands a job at a prestigious firm. Meanwhile, back in the village, his siblings struggle to make ends meet. Esther steps up as a surrogate parent, ensuring the younger ones have food and clothing. Obinna sends an occasional letter, but becomes increasingly absorbed in his city life. His success grows, but so does the distance between him and his family. Obinna's intelligence and business acumen propel him to great heights. He starts his own company, which quickly becomes a success, earning him wealth and recognition. He purchases a luxurious mansion and indulges in a life of opulence, surrounding himself with influential friends and enjoying the trappings of his success. However, he convinces himself that he achieved everything on his own, neglecting to remember the sacrifices his family made for him. He begins to see his siblings as a liability rather than a priority. Back in Nsukka, life remains harsh for the siblings. Esther, a widow with 3 children, struggles to feed her family. Chika and Emeka take up menial jobs, barely earning enough to survive. Frances falls ill due to poor living conditions, and Rita is forced to abandon her dream of becoming a teacher to help with household responsibilities. They reach out to Obinna, asking for financial assistance, but he brushes them off, believing they need to learn independence. Years pass, and Obinna's relationship with his siblings becomes strained. Esther sends letters pleading for help, but they go unanswered. The younger siblings feel betrayed by Obinna's indifference. During a rare visit to the village, Obinna's extravagant lifestyle creates a rift between him and his family. They view him as arrogant and out of touch, while he sees them as envious and unwilling to work hard. The love and unity they once shared begin to erode. Despite his wealth and success, Obinna begins to feel an emptiness in his life. Surrounded by luxury, he realizes his mansion is devoid of warmth and companionship. His attempts to build meaningful relationships fail, as his acquaintances are more interested in his money than his character. Unbeknownst to him, his siblings have stopped reaching out, resigned to the fact that he no longer considers them a priority. Tragedy strikes when Esther succumbs to an illness she could not afford to treat. Her death devastates the family, particularly her children, who are now orphans. The siblings bury Esther without Obinna's presence, as he claims he is too busy to attend. News of Esther's death reaches Obinna, but he feels conflicted, burying his guilt under layers of justification. His siblings, however, see this as the final confirmation that he has abandoned them. Obinna begins to reflect on his life after Esther's death. He revisits old letters she sent, realizing how desperate she had been for his help. Memories of their childhood haunt him, and he starts to question the choices he made. Yet, his pride prevents him from reaching out to his remaining siblings, who have all but written him off. Emeka, the youngest, faces the brunt of the family's hardships. With no financial support, he works multiple jobs to provide for Esther's children and support Chika and Francis. His health deteriorates due to overwork and stress. Despite his struggles, he refuses to contact Obinna, convinced that his brother has no interest in their plight. Emeka's resilience becomes a beacon of hope for the family, even as the weight of their struggles grows heavier. Chika, once the most optimistic sibling, becomes deeply embittered by Obinna's abandonment. He channels his anger into hard labor, determined to prove he doesn't need his brother's help. However, his resentment isolates him from his remaining siblings, creating further fractures within the family. Chika's story becomes a reflection of the collective pain felt by the siblings, highlighting the emotional toll of Obinna's neglect. Obinna falls gravely ill and is forced to confront his mortality. Alone in his mansion, he begins to realize the true cost of his choices. The luxurious possessions he once cherished now feel meaningless in the absence of family. Desperate to make amends, he decides to return to Nsukka after decades of separation. When Obinna arrives in Nsukka, he is shocked by the changes. The village is still poor, but the warmth and community spirit he remembers are gone. He visits his childhood home, now dilapidated and abandoned, and is overcome with emotion. Memories of his siblings' laughter and sacrifices flood back, deepening his regret. Obinna finds Emeka, now an older man, living in a modest house on the village outskirts. Their reunion is far from joyous. Emeka confronts Obinna with years of pent-up anger and heartbreak, accusing him of abandoning the family when they needed him most. Obinna listens in silence, unable to defend himself. Determined to make amends, Obinna offers Emeka financial support and promises to care for Esther's orphaned children. While Emeka accepts the help for the children's sake, he warns Obinna that money alone cannot heal the wounds of the past. Obinna begins to understand that redemption requires more than wealth. It requires humility, love, and consistent action. Obinna establishes a scholarship fund in Esther's name to support children in the village, including her own. He begins visiting Nsukka regularly, contributing to community projects and reconnecting with his roots. Though his actions are welcomed, the scars of his absence remain evident in his siblings' cautious interactions with him. Chika, hardened by years of resentment, initially refuses to see Obinna, but over time, he witnesses his brother's genuine efforts to make amends. After a heartfelt conversation, Chika begins to let go of his anger, offering Obinna a chance to rebuild their relationship. This marks a turning point in Obinna's journey toward reconciliation. Nsukka's residents, once skeptical of Obinna's intentions, begin to see him in a new light. His efforts to uplift the village earn him respect, and his story becomes a lesson in the dangers of pride and neglect. Obinna uses his influence to bring development projects to Nsukka. As Obinna spends more time in Nsukka, he reflects on his life and the choices that led to his isolation. He writes a memoir detailing his journey, hoping it will serve as a cautionary tale for others. His siblings, though still healing, begin to acknowledge his efforts and see glimpses of the brother they once adored. Obinna passes away years later, leaving behind a legacy of redemption and community upliftment. His siblings and the villagers honor his memory, acknowledging his late but genuine efforts to make amends. His story becomes a timeless reminder of the importance of family and the dangers of letting pride overshadow love and unity.